up, Moody Ninjas? Spectro50 here for another episode with my man, Jrbdbc.
Hi, guys.
He's back here to teach me a little bit more of cooking. I can cook, but he's got some fun stuff. We're going to be doing some amazing stuff. What will we be doing today?
So today I want to make a demi-glaze, and we're going to make a risotto rice with asparagus and a tenderloin that is wrapped in bacon, seared off, and it's just going to be a wonderful sauce and compilation together.
You mentioned bacon, and I just started drooling, so I'm okay with this.
Bacon's one of the wonderful things of life.
Not sure what a demi-glaze is, but okay.
So I want to give a little start by doing a little reference to stock. So demi-glaze is essentially a stock, a beef stock, veal stock, or brown stock that is reduced to the point where it's sec, or will coat the back of a spoon. So if you take a spoon, dip it in, you should be able to draw a line on it with your finger, and it should not close up
Immediately?
No, at all.
Oh, so it's almost kind of like a molasses-y kind of feel?
Really thick, yeah,
Texture.
molasses kind of thickness, yes.
Caramelized, almost.
Kind of. And with that, I make my own beef stock. There's not really a point to buy stuff with his allergies. That is a wonderful thing as well.
Anything you see me cook and eat on here, you guys can say is gluten-free, because I do have celiac disease, so...
And I'm going to make
always a
sure
good
to
thing.
do that as well.
Getting sick is not fun.
The great thing about beef stock is it's really simple too. Like, it is nothing more than beef bones. For beef stock, veal stock is veal bones. You can do chicken stock this way. You take vegetables, celery, onions, carrots, cut them up, a can of tomato paste, throw it all together, and roast it in the oven until everything is brown. Then you just take those bones out, throw them in a big gigantic pot, add cold water to it, bring it all to a boil, and then drop it to a simmer and let it cook for about 4 hours. You don't even have to maintain it. You just skim the stuff off the top once in a while. So easy.
Easy stuff. So when you're buying that little itty-bitty box of chicken or beef broth in the store, remember, you can do it yourself if you have the time.
And it's a hell of a lot cheaper. I spent $20 on almost 10 gallons of it.
Yeah, you spend like $5 on a little itty-bitty box.
8 ounces.
Yeah. All right, so you pre-made a little bit of the stock for us because obviously we don't have 4 hours.
Right.
What is going to be our first steps that we're going to be doing here? Because obviously we're going to cut because we're not going to sit here and watch it just simmer down to its consistency.
So I freeze stock when I'm not using it. I just put a couple of my frozen chunks into this pot here. We brought it up to temperature so that it thawed, and we're just going to reduce it until it's sec. And we'll bring you guys back in for that point.
All right, we will see you guys then. Welcome back, everybody. We've got everything set up here. We kind of got everything flying. We've got stages to show you. My mouth is drooling.
I made him hungry with setting up the display for you guys.
That's right, I gives to you.
Shouldn't have brought it up.
All right, so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to show you how everything is doing this. We're cutting off about 1.5 inch chunks out of the tenderloin. And then he is tightly wrapping the bacon around it, which we are now going to show you. You need a nice sharp knife.
Make sure it's a long one, too. The more little back and forth actions that you do on the meat, it's just going to shred it to pieces. It doesn't look good. It doesn't cook well. Take nice long slices. And don't put a lot of pressure on it. You don't want to destroy the meat.
Yeah, because if you press on meat, and this is like the same concept you can use with almost like burgers, is it squeezes the juices that you want to keep in it out.
Exactly. And I'm just going to form it a little bit so that it's round, tap it into shape.
Tenderizing.
We're going to get...
When you do purchase bacon, I highly recommend a nice thick cut bacon and not the pre-purchased store. Like, go to one of your meat departments within your store and get fresh bacon.
Exactly.
So hold this up and show them how you're wrapping it.
So what I'm actually doing here is we're just going around the edges. I want to make it... I'm not afraid to stretch the bacon. A little bit of stretching. We don't want to put any toothpicks in this. We don't want to add anything that you could forget to take out and accidentally bite onto. And we're just going to bring it all together, have this nice round So you have this beautiful chunk.
You can leave that right there.
Oh, so great.
Because as you guys can see, we have one already pre-made here, so that's the second one. And what we're going to show you is we're going to skip over, head over to the oven real quick and actually show you a sear. But we actually have one that we kind of already pre-seared. It's got a nice, starting to darken brown.
Yep. It's got that that nice char on, not char, the word escapes me. Maillard reaction. That's the word.
There you go.
The Maillard reaction has happened. It's turned the meat a slight color. We haven't cooked around the outside. We just seriously bring our pan up to heat, drop a little bit of oil in the pan, and drop it on. Make sure you let that pan heat. I haven't turned the heat up. I haven't turned the heat down. The whole time it's been on warming.
Yeah, you want it hot because this is not a slow cook. You want to sear the sides because what it does is locking in all the flavor, all the juices, because we're going to bake it.
Not to mention making it look absolutely gorgeous.
You mean like me?
He is a gorgeous piece of meat.
He just called me a piece of meat.
You sound so offended to that, but I know you love it.
Oh, all right.
So we're going to finish up these real quick, cut them all up, and I believe we're going to bring them back for a quick sear.
Yeah, we're going to cut over here to just so you guys can see a quick sear.
What's up?
Yeah. I know. But we're going to cut over quick to the pan, guys, so see you in a split second.
Alright, guys. So we're over here. We got a nice look at the pan. It's super hot. I'm actually surprised the oil's not smoking. We have it turned up as high as we can get everything, and we're just going to start placing them in. I don't want to flood the pan with too many of these.
Yeah, because doesn't it disperse the heat a little too much?
Exactly. So I'm only going to do maybe one or two at a time so that we don't lose too much of the heat from the pan.
Yep.
Now, normally in my universe, in my kitchen, I would have used a cast iron pan, but any pan works. This is proof of concept.
Yep, because this is just your basic T-fil pan, basically, your Teflon pan.
You just want to make sure that you get it as hot as possible for this scenario. So we'll let these sear off for a couple minutes in here.
That sizzle sound, so awesome! Makes you drool just hearing it.
Definitely. And it doesn't hurt that the gorgeous bacon wrapped around it is just popping that color.
And as you can see on the other sides here, guys, we have sauce for the basic sauce is right down here. We've got the risotto sauce is in the back that's getting ready. I mean, all sorts of good stuff.
Yep, so in the front here, we actually have our demi-glaze at almost stage 2 at this point. At this point, it's thick enough, you can see, versus the standard stock.
Yeah, it's water. This is more of a
Paste.
Yeah.
And this is only part 1. After it gets a little bit thicker, like I said, that O-Sec, I'm going to take and we're going to add the red wine. And it's equal parts red wine and stock. So now, however much stock that we added originally, which I added about, I would say, maybe 5 cups, I think. It's probably more than that, but...
the stock is based on how much you need.
Exactly. And we're going to add equal parts red wine to that and then reduce it again. I'll show you what it looks like after we add the red wine. But it is, I think, about time to flip our little tenderloin here. So
we'll come in and I'll show you that nice.
Get those flipped over. Beautiful, beautiful.
You see how they got the nice little singe to them, guys?
Now I've seen people go and hold these with tongs and do the edges of them, and there's not really a need to go through all that. You just want to make sure that you get a nice sear on the top and bottom of your tenderloin. All right, so. We're going to cut for this moment, and we'll bring you back in when we start adding all the other ingredients.
All right, guys, we'll see you in a moment.
All right, guys, so we're back. What we're going to do real quick here is we have this amazing seared off tenderloin wrapped in bacon. We're going to throw this in the oven real quick and get this all going. Now, we only want to bring up the internal temperature most of the way there. We actually want to pull it out and let it rest afterwards. So right now I have it set to 350. I'll probably move that closer to the 400 here. But, I mean, it's not set in stone. That's part of cooking, is it's dynamic. Next, we have our demi-glaze reducing. I've added the wine at this point, and we've got this really nice thick red sauce. So what I was talking about au sec before is the back of the spoon. If I run my finger through it, you can't see any line on it at all. It's way too thin at this point. Eventually it will be thick enough that when I run my finger through it, you won't have the close on that area. Not only that, but you'll be able to visually see it pretty clearly. Then we have our risotto about to start here. Now the way this works is really simple. You take rice and either butter or oil, if you can't have cream, and you coat the rice thoroughly in the butter oil. Just put a little bit on. You don't need it. You don't want it to stand oil or butter on the bottom. You just want to coat it all like beach sand, essentially. Just make it all wet. We're going to bring the temperature up a little bit and just get a little bit of heat on this, warm this all up, just like you would, like a warm pack or a heat pack. And then we're going to slowly bring our stock over to our rice and mix it in. Hear that sizzle? What we want is we want to steam that rice together. We want that rice to be creamy. Now, I didn't mention earlier, but there's a lot of different types of rice. And this is a short white grain rice. You can use long grains, things like that, but there's over 200 different types of rice on the planet. Do yourself a favor, take a couple seconds and find the right one. A nice short white grain rice is going to make a better, creamier risotto. So we'll add just a little bit more here. You don't want to add too much right at the start. I want to let it absorb some of that. It's going to start to cream up. You can see in the bottom here.
Starting to stand.
Definitely. So we're going to stop. We're going to start letting this absorb some of it. And it's going to start inflating and puffing up, absorbing that water out of that fluid out of the stock. Yeah. Yep. I also have the stock warming up as well. We don't need the stock super hot. You don't need to burn yourself. We don't need the rice super hot. And this is kind of a slow process. You don't want to just rush. You don't want to crank up the heat and burn your rice. Just let it slowly absorb that, steam a little bit, mix here and there.
Risotto is an art of love, not speed.
Exactly. I believe that was actually in a story, an Italian story at one point.
Okay.
The Passion of Rice.
I see.
Okay, sounds like it's getting a little bit dry. Starting to pop. Prevent the burn. Cool it off a little bit more stock here. Now, one of the things I did just after searing, not before searing the tenderloin, is I added a little bit of salt to it before we finish it off in the oven. That's going to flavor it perfectly.
Salt and pepper are really kind of a preferential tasting of what you like, and
climate as well.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin, because of the colder weather, typically we salt our food more than other states will. Higher altitudes also tend to salt their food more because it lowers the flavor of your food. And salt brings that flavor back. Now, I haven't gone through and salted any of this. We're going to wait till the risotto is almost done. And we'll start adding some cheese to it. And then we'll add a little bit of salt. You got to remember that most cheese has salt in it. So you don't want to go through and add a bunch of salt or pepper to these things. You want to season everything individually. This is going to have our acid to it. It's going to have our beef flavor to it. This is going to be creamy, so it's going to add cheeses and salts. You're going to have pepper and your bacon. You're going to have smokiness in your bacon. All these parts individually work to make the bigger picture. And you can see the rice is becoming a lot thicker now. Get that. Yeah, nice and thick. It's starting to stick together a lot better. That butter and that oil got absorbed into the rice. I am making a horrible mess here.
Isn't that what comes with cooking?
Oh, that and eating. There's a reason. Don't eat food from a thin chef unless it's a sushi chef.
Sushi.
I want somebody to request that. I could definitely go for this.
We could. I want to learn how to make sushi.
It's really easy.
I have a family member who actually has all the tools to make sushi.
What?
He makes it all the time.
Maybe we should invite him over. Or her.
Him. Yeah. But I could teach everybody sushi.
I never was a big fan of rolls. I'm a huge fan of sashimi. I like me by my sashimi.
You like sashimi? The Rostis?
It's the best.
I like both. So while we're getting this risotto, guys, what's the consistency that we're looking for when it's done?
When it's done, it's going to be, I guess the best way I would describe it as more of a thick or lumpy potatoes, mashed potatoes.
Okay.
So it's not going to be undercooked mashed potatoes, but it will be kind of all creamy together. You'll have that whole creaminess to it. It will be similar to mac and cheese, I guess, the way it goes, just with little rice particles instead of your potato.
Yeah, mush.
And you can see it's starting to come together. I'm actually doing good right now. And we may use all this stock or we may not. It's not like it's exactly this many cups to exactly this much rice.
You know, like you said, if you make stock yourself, it's very inexpensive, so
yeah.
You do what you do. You only have to use what you have to. Don't feel bad if you don't need to use it all. Or if you use it all.
And don't feel bad about going to the store and buying stock either. I understand some people don't have 4 hours. But again, most of that 4 hours, I sat and recorded videos, and I checked on it once an hour, skimmed off the top, and went back to recording videos. So we're getting, you can see here, in between some of these rice, it's getting a little bit creamier, a little bit thicker. You can keep going with it. We're starting to bring this together.
And as you can see over here, guys, you've got the wine mixed with the stock as well, and it is slowly reducing down, and it will become more of a sauce.
Exactly. Nice, thick sauce. We should actually check on that real quick here and see how close to a sec we are. Still drips off the spoon, so we are not there yet. We can actually probably turn that up a little bit. We just don't want to boil this at all. Because if we do that, we run a risk of burning those sugars that are in there from the vegetables in the beef stock and the grapes in the wine.
Thanks. So this is a good point. We can come back once all this is ready and we can put it together for everybody. Unless you have more for us, sir.
We'll be making one more stop when we toss the asparagus, which it's just a quick toss in a pan, a little bit of oil. It's not going to take long.
So you just sear the asparagus?
Basically.
Yeah, when you get your vegetables. And you don't have to use an asparagus. You can use any of the vegetables you really like.
Yep, typically...
I personally not a big asparagus guy, but...
Yeah, typically we don't, a dish is really simply comprised of a meat, a vegetable, a starch, and a sauce. As long as you have those 4 components, you should have a masterpiece dish every time.
Yay, masterpiece.
And we will see you guys in a little bit.
Alrighty then. Hi, Spectral 50. We're back.
We're back.
Alright guys, so we've got everything together. We've got the risotto here. We quick seared up the asparagus, which honestly it's really easy. A little bit of oil in a pan and just put it in the pan and shake and warm it up.
Toss lightly.
Yeah. What temperature did you want to bring up the meat to?
So I cooked this stuff at about 350. I didn't increase it, I didn't decrease it, just cooked a little bit longer. It's still nice and tender. If you cook it a little bit higher heat, it's going to take a little bit less time, and it's still going to be nice and tender.
When you put the thermostat in.
Oh, thermostat, meat monitor.
Yeah.
So I took one of the biggest pieces I could find, and I made sure that I hit 140.
Okay.
In the United States, ServSafe qualifications dictate that it has to reach 145 degrees. What that actually means is if I reach 140 on this and I pull it out to let it set the 10 minutes like you should let all meat set, it's going to carry over its remaining amount of heat to about the 145 mark.
Okay.
If you're less rare of a person, cook it to about 150. Anything beyond that, you're just burning it. And I may have let these in a little bit too long. But
they're actually good. We taste tested them and they're wonderful. Trust me.
They're still tender, they're still moist, they're just what I would call well done.
Yeah, and for my family, unfortunately, I like a little bit of pink. I like my meat to moo at me a little bit.
Same here.
But a lot of my family are well done eaters.
So at least it's going to be great for everybody.
Yeah, everybody will be able to eat. When we were cooking the risotto, I said we added the rest of that stock and everything, got it to a good rice consistency. All we did is we cubed up some carrots, really nice carrots, and then you mix in cheese to the consistency you like. And we'll show you that as we plate it.
Yep.
And that's what we're actually going to do. We're going to show you. We're going to plate up 5 plates, and with the sauce that's all ready to go, you'll see the consistency.
And I'll show you the Osek sauce as well, so you can see exactly what that looks like.
Yeah, we'll bring that up to the camera a little closer so you guys can see that.
And remember, whenever you're talking about, just toss these here so they don't overcook. Whenever you're talking about blanching and or boiling anything, make sure the water is salty like the sea. If you can taste it, and it tastes like the ocean water, you're good. Because that is only going to impart a small amount of salt into those vegetables. When you drain off that, all the rest of that's going to go away.
Okay, so you want salty water if you're going to boil that way.
Yes.
All right, so let's start plating. What are we going to do first?
So the first thing I personally like to do is get down your bases.
Yeah, you need your risotto base.
Yeah. So if I'm going to stack, like I'm going to stack on this one, we're going to get a nice amount of risotto. We want to make it look presentable into a nice little mound. Onto a plate. I don't want it overbearing. Obviously, if you want more, I've made plenty for people. Come back for seconds. But for making a beautiful plate, I want to make sure that there's not too much. It's not going to overpower everything else on the plate. Everything's still going to have its own place. Some people don't like touching food.
Oh yeah, trust me, I understand. I know somebody who, if their food touches, they won't eat it. They won't. But I mean, a big part of this is us both being Americans. We understand as we kind of watch it is portions are key, and in America, over portions happens way too often, and that's why you control it like this.
And I realize that this looks like a lot to a lot of people in the world, but the reality of it is, it's nothing to Americans. And at the other side, this is a fruit or the starch in a vegetable. You want majority of your dish made up of starch and vegetables. It shouldn't. I have some rather large tenderloins here. I should have more rice, more vegetables than I do tenderloin.
In some cases, we may be close. There are a couple of larger ones there.
Now, keep in mind, other people in other parts of the world, or if I was cooking for a fancy restaurant, they would be typically a little bit smaller portion size, but they would be still just as delicious. I have this wonderful fork to help me with the plating design.
No whispering.
Ah!
Yeah, this is you guys, when you're cooking this, if you're following along, it smells so good. We've been hungry for like the last half the time we've been cooking this. We're like, can we eat yet? Can we eat yet? Can we eat yet?
The downside about cooking the way that we do for videos, which you guys have a little bit better advantage on your side because you won't be doing it the way that we are doing it, each individual item at a time. The advantage to you guys is you can kind of snack along the way. We didn't get that chance because we whipped up everything individually.
Yep, so that we could show you guys everything. And when with these asparagus, you put a little oil in there, a little bit of sesame seeds, and you just crispy.
Yep. I added a little bit of water at the end to steam them just slightly so they weren't over fibrous. I threw sesame seeds over the top of them after we got them all oiled up and fried up. Again, we use a nice vegetable oil so that we don't have a heavy, greasy mess. And again, kind of like the sear, super high heat, super short period of time. You can grill them. That works really wonderful too.
Grilling everything is wonderful. I'm a griller, guys. Just wait until we get to do some grilling.
He's going to teach us that part because I'm not that great. Last asparagus I did on the grill, I burnt.
I'm not a super professional griller by any means, guys, but that's my thing. I love grilling. Give me some. If we're gonna go this summer, we're gonna go classic American episodes. We're gonna go some amazing brats, burgers. I mean, you can grill anything from shrimp. You can grill vegetables. I mean, all sorts of stuff.
I got a shrimp recipe for us that we can try.
A big part of it is just having the right tools, because if you can get a basket made just with some aluminum foil.
Nice. All right, so we got our tenderloins here, and you notice that as I'm plating these, or maybe you don't, but as I'm plating these here, we have a portion of this plate on every single one of them open.
And we'll show that to you guys when I bring the plate up to the camera.
There's a very good reason for this, and we need a place for our sauce. It is fine to place the sauce on top of other things, but not everybody's going to like or want a sauce on their stuff.
So everybody's tastes are different, but you give the option because you use this side and you glaze the sauce on the plate, and people can use it to dip and kind of rub it on.
Exactly, and then at the same time, it's going to give this beautiful consistency to our food as well. So, actually, if I could have you hold.
Oh, he's actually letting me do something. This is like amazing.
So, I'm going to dip the spoon into the sauce, and as you can see, or maybe you can't on the camera, the spoon is completely covered. If I run my finger through it, you'll see a nice clear spot in the spoon, and it doesn't cover up. That's exactly what I'd expect to see from a nice, thick glaze sauce. Good. Now, the way this works is I will typically...
1 spoon. And I will show this to you guys as we come by. You don't need a lot of sauce.
Oh, you definitely need a lot of sauce. But for elegance purposes, you don't use a lot of sauce.
You don't. It's all up to the person. I mean, some people like that bold flavor. Some people prefer a finer flavor.
And so, what I have on this one is around here. I'm basically creating, I would say, more of a music note, if at all possible. I mean, on the plate. It's got a little puddle for the sauce, so that you can have a little extra sauce, and then it's got a nice little curve to it. And
what's the curve for?
Just so that I have a little extra sauce on the plate, and it fills out the whole thing beautifully. It's whatever design you want. If I use my squeeze bottle, which I have a squeeze bottle that I fill with juices and sauces and flavorings,
you can make it look a little bit nicer and
than what I'm doing here. And the other thing is, I can make a thicker sauce, and I can actually put dots around the plate and do all kinds of crazy designs and patterns.
Presentation.
In Disney, they put Mickey Mouse on the plate using mustard and ketchup for the kids in little dot formations around the plate, so you have this beautiful elegance to it. Different restaurants do different things. One of the things you want to talk about crazy restaurant experiences. Straighten this one out a little bit. Crazy restaurant experiences in a restaurant out in Colorado. I'll take this back from you. Right. A restaurant out in Colorado, they actually have somebody that's paid to do nothing more than peel the individual droplets of an orange apart. Kid you not.
I would hate that. Alright guys, now we're going to show you here. I'll bring it up to the camera. We're going to show you the vinyl plated version. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you got your meat, your asparagus on the risotto.
I can throw a picture in there as well, so it'll make it a little bit clearer for you guys.
And then you've got the nice thing. Yeah, the lighting isn't always the greatest. We're doing our best.
But that is it, guys.
Definitely. Future episodes coming up, because this was a huge request within my stream that I do live on Twitch.
Yep.
Next is going to be curry.
Curries.
If you want to see specific foods that you might like seeing us make or learn how to make, leave it in the comments below in his channel and mine. Both links will be down below. to Twitch, to YouTube, everything. Show your likes, supports, and everything to both channels, guys. Please do.
And if you happen to have any requests for food, I simply make it this. Make sure you include all 4 of the major things. Or at least 3. Make sure you have a meat, a starch, and a vegetable. As long as you request those things, we'll make sure that you have a proper meal.
Sounds like a plan. So, until next time, guys, this is Spectro50.
And JRB.
Catch you guys later!
See you in another world.